with its ups and downs, turn your pretty face into an ugly frown. Seems that when I fix one thing,
Hello, welcome back to The Awakening. I'm your host, Angela Brown. Today's topic for discussion is going to be called retirement. And neither one of us, he or I, we're not old enough to retire yet. But we're going to talk about when you should retire, how you should play with your money, how you make better decisions. And he's very in tune to this, and I trust him emphatically. So I hope you will too. Welcome, Rod, to the show.
Oh, thank you, Angela.
It's good to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
I think so. You have a nice smile.
Well, thank you.
Okay, let's get started. What is the age we should start saving money for the retirement? The day we're born?
Oh, well, that might be a little bit
Wouldn't
too
that
soon.
yeah.
But it would be nice if someone did a little bit planning when they first started to work. We'll have a lot of clients that will start doing some catch-up work, usually when they're probably past 50. AARP did a recent study on this, and they found that 72% of the people that they surveyed were more afraid of outliving their retirement money than they were actually afraid of dying. So it's the #1 fear for people in retirement today. Mm-hmm. There's never a point in time where it's going to be too soon to start planning your retirement because of the fact it's going to happen, and it's going to happen. And when it does happen, you only want it to happen one time.
Right.
You only want to retire once. We've got some people that are doing some catch-up work. We usually work with older people, people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. We're getting a lot more younger people coming in now, and they're starting to do some retirement planning. So, and we help them do some catch-up work because a lot of people haven't done the best job at saving for their retirement. So what we'll do is we'll have them make sure that they max out their IRA. We'll make sure that they max out.
What is an IRA?
Okay.
I'm just going to ask you. I know what it is, but I just want to.
It's an individual retirement account. Mm-hmm. And if they can, we encourage them to do that as a Roth IRA. Now, starting a Roth IRA, there are income limits on that. If you're a married couple, you cannot earn more than $177,000 to start a Roth IRA. However, IRS does allow Roth IRA conversions. The difference between a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA is the fact that you pay the taxes up front with the Roth IRA. Mm-hmm. All the accumulation on the IRA, all of the deposits that you put into the Roth IRA will all be tax-free when you go to retire.
That's good.
It's wonderful.
Yes.
I do a lot of work with Ed Slott. I don't know if you've
I've
seen
never
Ed.
heard.
Okay.
No.
Ed does the show on PBS about retirement. One of Ed's favorite sayings is the fact that taxes are on sale.
Really? Now, what does that mean?
Well, if you look at the relationship of our current taxes, the top tax rates, and you compare them to our national debt, we hear about a lot of news about the national debt. It seems like every other day, it seems to me.
We do. We hear it, yes.
Yeah. So our national debt is climbing. As a matter of fact, just a couple of weeks ago, Barron's financial publication did a study on this, and they did the correlation between our national debt and our top tax rates. We had our highest national debt right after World War II in 1947. And would you like to even guess what the top tax rates were in 1947?
Yes, I'd love to know.
They were over 90%. Yeah, 93 cents out of every dollar that you earned went to federal taxes, and that doesn't include state taxes. So can you imagine giving 90 cents out of every dollar that you earned to federal income tax?
Well, how in the heck did they manage this?
You had to earn a lot of money.
Yeah, but back then I don't think there was that much money to earn, was it?
Well, if you compare it to the relationship of where we are today, that's why a lot of people, and who pays our national debt, by the way?
We do.
We do. You and I.
Do.
We have to pay our national debt. It's easy for Congress to spend our money, but the bottom line is you and I have to pay this debt.
We should have a say-so.
We should have a
Yes,
better
we should.
say-so.
We have a voice.
Absolutely.
We have a choice.
Yeah. In order to pay this national debt, and by the way, our national debt is climbing and it's escalating to near World War II levels.
Oh my
and
God.
it's climbing at a very, very rapid rate. So you have to, when you're doing retirement planning, I guess my point here is you have to make sure that your retirement plans are as tax efficient as possible. So the Roth IRA right now is a pretty good deal. If you pay the taxes up front, all that money accumulates for you and it'll be distributed for you. Even the interest on it
Really?
will not only be tax-free for you, for your spouse, but also for your beneficiaries, the people that you want to leave. If you want to do some legacy planning, and that's something we help our clients with as well. We do estate planning. So if you want to leave a legacy behind, that Roth IRA will go to your beneficiaries and it will be completely tax-free to them as well. Now, when you think about this, let's say that you have some grandchildren and you might want to leave your 2-year-old grandchild a legacy IRA behind. With their expected life expectancies of being 80 to 90 years, just think of the compound interest that this can accumulate over the years. And it could really accumulate to quite a substantial amount of money.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. So what really got you into this kind of work? Have you always worked in just this tax stuff and all? Or?
Well, I've been doing financial planning. Actually started when I was in college, back in 1975. So I've been doing this for quite a while.
You chose this as your goal for life.
Well, it kind of chose me.
How?
Because when I started doing this, I was very successful at it. And
You could tell anything, I think.
Well, thank you. You know, the bottom line is, I might know a whole lot of stuff, but the bottom line is you're right. It's a salesman. It's a sales job. I have to be able to present this information and also be able to relay all this information to my clients and make sure that they appreciate all this. We help our clients with all phases of their retirement planning.
Okay, such as?
Well, we help them with the accumulation period, and then once they're ready to retire, we help them with what's called the distribution period. We help them to make sure that their money will last as long as they live. I was reading recently that if you're 65 years old today and you're in good health, chances are that you're going to live well into your 90s now because of all the advances with modern medicine. So if you retire at age 65, you have to plan on 30 years of money that's going to last as long as you live. So that's an important thing. And we've
That's scary, though.
Well,
It is. Besides, maybe you want to go out and spend some money just frivolously, not buy a new car or something like that.
And we help our clients with this as well.
Okay.
Because we help them with not only, we've got a pretty sophisticated system that we use, pretty sophisticated computer system. And we put in how much money you've saved, tax qualified money.
How much should we save, Rod, every month, every week?
Every week, as much as you can for retirement without crimping your budget. You can max out your IRA, getting back to the traditional IRAs or the Roth IRAs. If you're under 50 years old, you can contribute up to $5,000 a year. If you're over 50, the government will let you do a little bit of catch-up work, and they'll let you contribute $6,000 a year into these plans. If you have a 401k plan with your employer, if you have a pension plan, that's even better, but that's becoming a thing of the past.
Why?
Because they're expensive for the employers to maintain, and they're putting the responsibility now on the employees. They're saying, okay, and some plans will make a contribution, some plans will not make a contribution, but it's a lot less expensive for an employer to let you save your own money than for them to set up a, let's say, a deferred compensation plan. So pension plans are really becoming a thing of the past.
So pensions is a thing of the past?
Well, not completely, but I would say when I started doing this, probably 75% of the people that came in to see me had some type of a pension plan. And the tables have turned. I bet you right now, probably only 25 to 30% of the people that come in to see me actually have a pension plan, an employer-sponsored pension plan.
My gosh.
So you really have to assume the responsibility for saving for your own retirement.
So it's your responsibility, nobody else's.
Absolutely, it's
If you
your
don't do it, it's your own fault.
Yeah, because you're not going to be able to live on Social Security benefits, are you?
No.
Unfortunately, I've seen some people that'll come in and they've made some irreversible mistakes with their IRAs.
Such as?
Well, a really important part of an IRA is to make sure that if you have a traditional IRA, not a Roth IRA.
Now, what's a traditional?
Traditional IRA means the government has let this money accumulate for you tax deferred. And when you get to be a certain age, you have to start spending this money, and it's going to be taxed as income. And it will be taxed as income for you, and if there's any money left over, it's going to be taxed as income for your beneficiaries as well.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that's how these deferred...
That's not good.
Well, the IRS says you either pay us now or you pay us later.
I've heard that a lot lately.
So with the Roth IRA, if you pay the taxes up front, the distributions will be tax-free. With the traditional IRA, you're getting the tax break up front, but you're paying the taxes on the back end when you take it as income distribution. A really important thing, before I change the subject, I want to stay on the IRAs because...
You stay on as long as you want.
Well,
we got 30 minutes.
Okay. Because IRAs are so... Most people have some type of an IRA.
And what
if you
does
do,
IRA stand for?
Individual retirement account. Okay? Money that we've saved and we've gotten a tax break on a traditional IRA. We want to make sure that our IRA is handled as tax efficiently as possible. If you have a traditional IRA, you want to make sure that it's set up as what we call a stretch IRA, or you may have heard the term legacy IRA.
Legacy, yeah.
And what that means is your non-spousal beneficiary, when they inherit your IRA, they can keep your IRA, they can keep that IRA as an IRA for themselves, and thereby take those distributions, as we were talking about before, over their lifetime and take advantage of the tax deferral and the compound interest on these accounts. If you have any other, and IRS treats all of these different plans differently. So if you have a 401k, a 403b, a thrift savings plan through the federal government, you're not allowed to do the stretch IRA distribution with those plans. You have to convert those plans into an IRA, and then you can set up your stretch IRA. Unfortunately, I see some people that come in, they've made some irreversible mistakes with these, and sometimes you can't fix it.
Oh.
You really want to
Can
make
you
sure...
go bankrupt with something like that as well?
No, this is more for your beneficiaries. We want to make sure that they can get this IRA, inherit it as an IRA, because your spouse will inherit it automatically.
Right.
But your kids, your grandkids, the people that you love, if there's anything left over in your IRA, you want to make sure that that's done as efficiently as possible. And it's a pretty simple process for us to do. So we help people with that. We also help them with estate planning as well, because some people have a large estate and they may be subject to additional federal estate taxes. So we have to take that into consideration. One way to help with that is to make sure that you have what's called a revocable living trust. Revocable living trust, basically it doubles the exclusion on federal estate taxes for you and your spouse. It's a very, very important thing to make sure that you have it done properly.
So who should you go to? You.
No. What I do is I make sure that the trust is funded properly, but I work with what's called elder law attorneys. The elder law attorneys will draw up the trust. They'll also, it's a good idea to have these reviewed on a regular basis because of the fact that ERISA laws can change and the tax laws can change. Geez, I just spent 3 days going over the new tax law changes that are coming up in retirement accounts. Yeah. So there's going to be some new tax law changes coming into effect January 1st.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, 2012 and January 1st, 2013. They've also, though, raised the exclusion amount for the federal estate tax. From right now, this year it's $5 million. Next year it's going to be $5,120,000. If Congress doesn't do anything, though, that exclusion amount is going to drop to $1 million instead of $5 million. So.
Okay, I have a friend. She said to ask you this question. She's married, her husband's retired, and she's going to start getting Social Security.
Okay, great.
Okay, now this is what she needs to know. She needs to know, should she pay out the taxes each month out of her Social Security, or should she wait and let it accumulate and then take the taxes out? I told her to take a little bit each month. When she gets the check,
it makes it a lot easier to do it that way.
It is easier to do it that way?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And you don't want to get caught behind the 8 ball and you find out that you owe a bunch of taxes.
Yes.
And then you don't have the money to pay them. So at some point, yeah, I always find it easier to pay the taxes as you go along, rather than, unless she has like Oh, maybe if is she self-employed or she's just retired?
She's self-employed.
She's self-employed. If you're self-employed, you may be getting a little bit of tax break on your business.
Right.
So if you're getting a little bit of a tax break on your business, that's something I would meet and talk with your accountant about.
Yeah, because when she came over to ask me about it, I said, I don't know anything,
okay.
but I have a really good guy coming on to answer that question.
Great.
So pay the taxes then each month on the money. Won't they deduct it for her? I thought they would take that out of the check.
Sure.
That's what they will do, right?
They will.
I was right there.
Yeah.
I was right there. So tell me something about yourself.
Well,
What got you into all this money stuff?
It's been a long transition.
Have you always done this? I mean, have you been frivolous or done something different?
Well, we've done a lot of things, but I've always been centered with the financial planning. As a matter of fact, my wife Tony helps me out a lot, and then so does my daughter.
She's very
Brooke,
pretty. I saw
actually.
both of them in the magazine
yeah.
here.
That's right. We're in the
Yeah, they're
Taste of the
both,
Bay.
your daughter and your wife both are very pretty.
Well, thank you.
And you're a very handsome young man yourself.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
Are
that.
you happily married? I can't forget that.
Yeah, I've been married for 29 years. My wife is a saint. It'll be 30 years next year. So, yeah, my wife's a good wife.
I'm glad. I think you're a good husband, too.
Well, thank you.
I can see it in your eyes. All right, let's get back to the money.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
Did I give her the right information to let them take the money out of her check every single month so that they won't take it out on one lump sum at the end of the year?
Sure.
That's a good way?
That would be the simple way to do it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All righty.
And I like simple.
I do too. I hate something you just got to play in and look at and worry because I don't like to think real hard a whole lot.
No, well, I'm with you. I think most people like simple. They like uncomplicated, and they like accounts that are going to guarantee them some type of an income in retirement. They want to make sure that that money's going to keep pace with inflation, because that's another important thing.
We're going to get more.
If we're going to live for, let's say, going back to that 65-year-old that's going to live until their 90s, 30 years of inflation, if you go back 50 years ago, guess what the average price of a single-family home was in this area?
I don't know.
$18,500.
You're kidding.
No, for a single-family home in this area, 50 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
A brand spanking new car, the average price of a brand spanking new car off the showroom floor was a little over $2,200. $2,200.
Oh, this is unbelievable.
Yeah. So, what can you buy for a quarter? When I was a
can't think
boy,
of anything.
nothing. No, you penny candy. Someone said one day. When I was a boy,
Where do you buy the penny candy? I'd like to know so I could go get some.
when I was a boy, I had a newspaper out in Baltimore, right outside of Baltimore. A newspaper called the News American. And at the end of the day, when I got done delivering my newspapers, I could go down to the corner store and for a quarter I could buy a Coke and a Tasty Cake. And I swear the Tasty Cakes were bigger.
Oh, everything
and
probably.
taste better. So my point is, you want to make sure you can protect your purchasing power, because if your retirement account does not keep pace with inflation, you could find that your income could be short in the future, because what looks good right now may not be as attractive 10, 15, 20, 30 years down the road, because things are increasing. Prices
Things are really
going
bad
up.
out there. Things are really bad.
I think
Don't you think that too? It's bad.
I see a lot of this. Unfortunately, I see most of the people that come in to see me really haven't put a lot of thought into their retirement income plan. They'll have most of their money actually invested in the stock market. But if you read...
Oh, stocks are terrible.
Yeah, and if you read the Putnam Institute reports on this...
Putnam?
Putnam Institute reports at the major financial think tank. And they're suggesting now that if you're in retirement, you shouldn't have more than 25% of your money in the stock market. But you would be surprised how many people, they'll come in, they'll sit down for their initial consultation with me, and they might be 65, 70 years old. All their money's in the stock market.
Oh my God, and when the stock market crashes.
Oh yeah, and it can again. And if you're in retirement and you lose 30, 40, 50% of your retirement value, do you think that that's going to affect your retirement income in the future?
Sure.
Yeah. So you really have to be a lot more diversified with your retirement planning. And for people that have chosen, let's say, mutual funds for diversification, mutual funds are really, really good when the economy's going well.
But when we're not, they aren't.
Well, right now we're not.
We're not.
But then how do you even choose a good mutual fund?
That's true.
You have to look at a lot of different things. I'll see people, they'll come into the office and they'll have like an old 401k plan, and they pick, you get a handful of mutual funds you get to pick with most of these plans.
Really?
And a lot of them aren't very good. So how do you pick a good fund? Well, you have to do a lot of homework. You have to evaluate, well, gee, how the fund manager, how long has he been managing this particular fund? If he's just taken over management of that fund, you can't go on the historical facts. What are the Morningstar ratings for a particular fund? And also, every fund has a risk factor associated with them.
As what?
The riskier the fund, usually the better the return. But if you're in retirement, you really don't want to have a risky fund now, do you? Because you have the potential to lose that money again.
Exactly.
And if you have a current financial advisor, they probably sit down with you and they show you the Morningstar reports on a regular basis. And you really have to do this on a very regular basis now because the volatility in the market, I mean, it's 200-point swings every other day. It's gotten crazy. So we meet with our clients, and luckily, we've got a really good system in our office. We've got a very sophisticated computer system. Do you have any idea how many different mutual funds there are out there?
No, you tell me.
Over 15,000 different
Oh,
mutual
my God.
So how do you pick a good one?
Well,
we've got a very sophisticated system.
How do you do it? How do you do it? Close your eyes and guess, or what?
No. We've got a really great system, and we go and we look at them. We can analyze thousands of funds in a matter of seconds now, thanks to computers.
Really?
So, and we sit down with our clients and we'll review all these Morningstar reports with them on a regular basis.
Morningstar reports?
Oh, okay. If you're not familiar with Morningstar, it's a rating system, and Morningstar evaluates and they give a rating to all the mutual funds out there.
Oh, okay.
They go anywhere from a 5-star rating down to a 1-star rating. 1 star, not that good, 5-star being the best.
The best.
And you really have to keep on top of these because what used to be a 5-star fund a year ago, even 6 months ago, could be downgraded to a average or even below average fund.
Oh my
So you have to make sure that you really keep on top of this. And it's something that we do with our clients on a regular basis because we have them come into the office every 6 months for their review. And I like to meet personally with all of our clients, and we do a face-to-face review with them.
That's the best way to go.
Absolutely.
You can learn a lot from a person's eyes. I do.
Okay.
But okay, so what if you have, well, let's say we're a millionaire, okay? When we all want to be that, right?
Sure.
How much taxes, my God, would they take out of that?
It would depend upon how you may have it structured and how you may be taking the distributions of the income. And if we're talking about qualified or non-qualified accounts. But let's say that we're going to start taking well, let me give you a good example.
Okay.
If you've accumulated all this money in a traditional IRA or in a 401k or other tax-deferred plan, when you turn 70 and a half, whether you want to or not,
70 and a half, okay.
Whether you want to or not, the IRS says you've got to start taking distributions of this money. And
you have to start using some of it even though you don't want to.
Even if you don't want to, even if you want to leave it for your kids.
Put it in a shoebox and hide it under your bed.
Well, I think that they're a little bit more sophisticated than that, and I think that they can track all this stuff.
Really? Okay.
But what they make you do when you turn 70 and a half, even if you don't want to, you have to start spending all this tax-deferred money. And IRS has a chart, and they're going to tell you exactly how much of this money you have to start spending, and it will be taxed as ordinary income. Now, the top income tax rates right now are 35%. So if you're a millionaire,
yeah.
So if you're a millionaire right now, and that doesn't include Maryland, but that's federal income tax. And then we're also going to have to consider, if you're a millionaire, what do we do to conserve our estate and leave a legacy behind and make that as tax efficient as possible as well? So let's say that you have a very large estate, you and your wife, and you have a whole lot of money. And you know that you're going to have to pay federal estate taxes. Well, at 35% on federal estate taxes, that's not a bad deal either because that's a lot.
35 cents out of every dollar?
Yes.
Okay.
But if you set it up properly, what we do with our clients when we help them with estate planning is we will help them set up what's called an irrevocable life insurance trust. It's actually a separate entity that we create outside of your estate. It gets a separate tax ID number, and upon your death, we make sure that that's funded. It will pay the estate taxes when they're due.
That's pretty good.
It is pretty good. Yeah,
That's a good way to go.
And it's a very, very cost-effective and tax-efficient way to do this. Absolutely.
Because I know Larry King and a few other people, and they say, you know, it's okay having money, but it's such a headache. You got to worry about every nickel, dime, quarter, and penny, Angie. But I've always thought if someone is that rich, you don't need to sit around and worry about it.
You don't have to worry about it
But you
because you
just
have
worry
people.
for it.
Now you have people helping you do that kind of stuff.
But think about all the people who you can't trust who are doing your stuff and you don't know what they're doing. If you have millions, or maybe you've only got $50,000, to some people that is $1 million.
Absolutely.
So every penny counts, you know, even in those
every
dollars.
penny does count. You know what I've discovered? I've discovered that the people that have spent their lives and lived their lives the most frugally have done the best job at planning out and accumulating money for their retirement.
You wouldn't think so, though, would you?
Well, it's like the millionaire next door, and they drive, you know, their old car, and they keep their house maintained, but they've been in the house for 25, 30 years, and they don't spend money on a lot of fancy things, but they've been very, very good at saving their money. And a lot of people wind up with millions of dollars that they've accumulated.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it is wonderful.
I hope they don't have a lot of greedy children, because I have some friends. I have some friends who wants, each child wants their name very clearly put, and I'm going to get this, and they want to see it before the parents die, and that's wrong.
Well, no, I disagree with that.
You disagree? Okay.
Because let me tell you why.
Why?
Beneficiary arrangements are so very important right now. As I told you, I do a lot of work with Ed Slott. Ed and I, we go over all the different new tax law changes, and we also look at the taxes that affect an IRA distribution. Beneficiary arrangements are so very, very important. I've seen people come into the office, and just to give you some examples.
I don't have a whole lot of time.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead. We got to wrap it up.
Oh, okay.
But I can have you come back again if you'd like it.
If you want.
I'd love to have you back again. I want to thank you for
Thank
being
you,
here
Angela.
on The Awakening.
Okay.
Rod Barori.
Boy, that was a quick
That's
hour.
30 minutes.
Half
I
hour.
told you, get talking, you don't know. I want to thank everybody for watching. If you have any problems, contact this gentleman. Thanks for watching. Until next time.